Welcome back to Center Stage. We'll get right back to the campus of Queens College in New York City, where 1998 Nobel Memorial Prize in Economic Sciences winner, Mr. Amartya Sen, continues to address the social demands of justice as part of Queens College's Year of India event series. Let's take a look.
I think in the gender inequality case, it's very interesting to look at Bangladesh. Bangladesh has not only progressed much more than India in nearly every area of human development other than income. This progress has been led to a great extent by the role of women's agency, particularly in the delivery of public services in the social sector, family planning, healthcare, teaching, in all of them. Much greater involvement of women than India has, dramatically more. India has to be concerned not only with what can be done for Indian women, important as it is, but also with what Indian women can do for India, which remains to a great extent a hugely under-tapped resource that can make India a very different country. The aspect of gender inequality that has received most vocal attention in recent years in India is that of violence against women, and in particular the high incidence of rape. And this issue has had a sudden and gigantic prominence which it did not have earlier. Earlier there was hardly ever anything on rape in the papers. Now you can't open a paper without reading 3 or 4 pages of rape report coming from every part of India. I'm not complaining about it. It's wonderful that it's happening at long last. But it's extraordinary how the culture has taken a recognition of public agitation. The transforming moment was the occurrence of an extremely brutal gang rape in a closed bus. Someone asked me today at lunch, why was the public bus doing? Well, it wasn't a public bus. It was pretending to be a public bus. There were 5 rapists waiting in a pretend public bus. And the unfortunate victim, a training medical student, eventually died in the hospital. This led to a huge protest, which was a very positive development in an otherwise extremely disturbing story. Public protests reached fever pitch for many days in Delhi, as well as in some other cities, bringing out protesting crowds incomparably larger than any seen before related to women's safety and well-being. There were large clashes with the police as well, since the lack of security and deep vulnerability of women to rape and harassment has much to do with the policing and its lack and the tendency of the police officers not to take these complaints seriously, in fact, to discourage them. There's an interesting epistemological issue here. How frequent is rape in India? There's an oddity here. Now that the newspapers are paying much more attention to reporting rape with pages and pages of rape reports each day, the incident cannot but be large. And yet it did not seem like that at all, even a short while ago. Why not? The main reason for this subdued perception must be the underreporting of rapes, which is common because the police are often quite unfriendly to the victim, sometimes harass them more, the courts are too slow to act, and convictions are hard to secure. It has been frequently speculated that the majority of rapes go unreported, and the actual incidence of rape may be 5 times or 10 times what gets recorded by the police. That is very likely. It may be quite correct to conclude, as many observers have, that India does indeed have a rape problem, and India may well be the rape capital of the world. However, it's also possible that India's terrible failure lies elsewhere. Indeed, if you go by the rate of police-recorded rape, the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime gives the incidence of rape as India, this is all 2010, India 1.8 per 100,000. USA 27.3, United Kingdom 28.8, Sweden 63.5, South Africa 120.0. India's recorded number is certainly a huge underestimate, but even if we take 10 times that figure, the corrected number of rapes would still be lower in India than in USA, UK, or Sweden, or South Africa, even with the assumption that there is no underreporting in these other countries. Of course, it's possible that the needed correction factor may not be 10 to 1, but perhaps 100 to 1. It's difficult to get a clear picture here, as matters stand, But there are ways of getting more deeply into the assessment, and this is, the way I learn these things is to encourage some graduate students to work on it, and I'm trying to do that, because there are informational coverage from sample surveys of randomly selected families and women. It can be done. We cannot be sure whether India has a special rape problem or not. But all the evidence suggests that India has a huge problem with making rape a seriously monitored and reported issue, with all that implies about the lack of planning, lack of policing in the prevention of rape and other forms of sexual violence. India's problems can well lie consistently with what we do know, not so much in any extraordinary frequency of rapes, but having an uncaring police, bad security arrangements, an unfunctioning judicial system, and ultimately an uncaring society. India does not have to be the rape capital of the world, whether or not it is, for it to be severely indicted. To conclude, while many demands of social justice are being met much better today than earlier, and that's worth emphasizing, there are huge, gigantic gaps that need to be closed. With the pursuit of social justice, what the pursuit of social justice demands most immediately is better practice of democracy in India, making use of the advantage it has in a democratic system and a powerful media, even if it is spending too much time on the glitzy end of the society rather than with the kind of things I've been trying to discuss. Whether we look at the divisions along the lines of class, caste, or gender, the need for more active participatory politics is truly important. The pursuit of economic growth, which absorbs so much of the attention everywhere, while important as well, and it is, has to be fitted into a very much larger social pursuit. One of the great slogans, "one thing at a time," is perhaps the worst advice that can be given to India today. Thank you.
There's still more to come, so stay tuned while we take just one more short break. See you on the other side.